Well, good morning. It is the 2nd of August 2023. Now, all I'm doing is putting up a slideshow here that's just primarily transport, but it's our trip to New Zealand a few years ago. In fact, it was January of 2017. Now, we went to ride all the Wellington trolley buses, and we ended up taking the train from Wellington up to Auckland. Now, I've been on that line a few times, but my main advice, I guess, is that whatever you do when you're travelling to other countries, or in this case we're talking about New Zealand, you need to book well in advance before travelling. Now, I have also heard, and I haven't researched it fully, but you can get a pass, they call it a mileage pass, that allows travel by New Zealand trains, buses and the ferry at a reasonable fare, and they used to have historically one anyway, but you could examine whether this is worthwhile looking at. I haven't, as I said, got it literally in front of me. That is one of the things. Secondly, I guess there are things that a lot of people that are doing travelling may not know necessarily about, and one of them I'm going to try out myself, I hope, and primarily, I guess, that at the moment I'm looking at doing it in about November of next year, all being well, as the saying goes, God willing, etc. World situation notwithstanding, and so forth. Well, in my case, I intend to do a fairly brief trip, and that is to fly over on, for example, a Saturday from Brisbane to Auckland. Have a look at the MOTAT, which is a Museum of Transport and Technology in Auckland. Is very worthwhile seeing. I haven't been to it for many years, but it is excellent. It has a tram going out to the zoo there. It's dual gauge, 4 foot and 4 foot 8.5. Now, the 4 foot came from Wellington, by the way. Sorry, yeah, Wellington, of course. Now, what I want to do, and I also intend, as I said, to book ahead on this, is to get a sleeper coach, a double-deck bus that goes from Auckland to Wellington, and I believe it runs every day, and the fare is reasonable, and you do lay flat. It's an actual bed in a sense, right? And you can Google this online, and you'd be impressed, I believe. Then I would like to spend a night in Wellington and ride the ferry across from Wellington to Picton, which connects to the train to Christchurch. Quite a scenic and enjoyable trip. Then you can have, I guess, a couple of nights in Christchurch or whatever you want. Of course, all of this is subject to what you desire to do and how long you desire to spend in places and what you're prepared to spend and so forth. But for me, just the 2 nights in Wellington would basically do. And then there's the Transalpine train going from Christchurch across to Greymouth. Well, I'd stay 1 night in Greymouth and then fly into Wellington, and a few hours later fly from Wellington back to Brisbane. So be about a 6-day tour. Of course, if you're coming from other countries, you know, as I say, you can basically choose what you want in regard to where you want to go, and you do some advanced research. And the most important advice I can offer right now is booking anything several months in advance. You're looking at 3 months in advance, at a minimum, I would suggest. And my general advice too, not just on New Zealand, but for those who are interested and want to go to the United States, I would also say I've made a movie on the subject, but I have what I call the Amtrak 6-hour rule. That is to say, not to book any connection by air or by bus or by train to any Amtrak train of under 6 hours. So that's more or less because some of the trains, in particular the Sunset Limited, but there are other trains that run quite late and you don't want to miss your connections. So just returning to the New Zealand thing, I guess you can also enjoy other off-train sites and things to do and so forth, but Wellington and Christchurch have electric train services and a reasonable number of buses too, and Wellington has electric buses. So that is just what I call a fairly brief, but I hope it's been of some use and interest for my advice on New Zealand. If you want to talk about things or ask about things or where to go specifically or recommend, well, you can put that in the comments under here and under the movie. Also, I might put my New Zealand movie in there as a link. I would welcome any civil and polite comments or questions, and I would just say thank you for viewing.